Welcome to NFL Daily, where we try to learn from our mistakes, like picking against the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Just a bit on that in just a minute. Yes, I am here in the Chris Wesseling podcast studio with my friend, Cynthia Frelund. This is our weekly picks, man versus model, your computer model. But the first time we've done it in the studio, and it feels right, Cynthia.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little awkward. We were like sort of sitting like in a way that was very unnatural before, but now it feels very, I feel like, I've got a good space around me. It's just good. Like the vibes are strong. Things are good.
The vibes are strong. Cynthia's got her glasses on, which she doesn't even need. She just wears them to look smarter, which is preposterous. People can check that out on YouTube, but we're going to go through the picks. First, the bad news. We both went 1-2 last week. Moving on. Let's get to this week's pick. I feel good. Last week, I went into it. I got to admit, I wasn't confident. I wasn't loving my picks. The one pick we had together was Seattle plus 3.5. And, we taped this. That was a Monday Night Football game. We have to be a little careful because we don't know the full injury reports. And they ended up missing 5 defensive starters. I was like, are we drawing dead here? So that was 1-2. We'll get to the extra picks later. I feel great about my picks this week. So I will let you go first because I'm sticking with the 3 I have. There's no indecision. These are 3 winners. So if you happen to pick the same ones, I'll just jump on board with you.
Well, really quick before we start, how did the box do? That's what America needs to know.
The box went 1-1, which are my extra picks.
Okay, yeah, the box is crushing.
The box is 11-3 this year.
Okay, so for my very first pick, did you like that?
Yes.
That we had to make it a little bit dramatic here. I'm going to take Seattle to win by at least a touchdown. I think right now it's 6.5, but I like a nice, strong win against the Giants. I think a bounce back situation. We saw that Kenneth Walker is crushing life. Funny thing here, that the New York Giants are one of 3 teams that have only allowed 1 rushing touchdown. I don't care. Kenneth Walker, he's going to change that this week. But I think this is a good one. And by the way, DK Metcalf almost quietly has had 3 games in a row of over 100 receiving yards. Like that is a Seahawk record. That's really great. We aren't talking about that enough. So, Gino, let's go.
Yes, there's mismatches all over the place against this Giants secondary. They don't have a number 1 cornerback. Like, who are they going to put? Deontay Banks against DK Metcalf? And then it gets a lot worse from there. Right. I don't know if Adoree Jackson's going to play in this game. Initially, my instinct was that's a lot of points. Like the Giants aren't that bad of a 1-3 team. And then as we tape this, it's uncertain, but it's not looking good for Malik Nabers. And that Giants offense without Malik Nabers, it does sound like some Seattle defenders will be back. Not all. We'll see. So some injury concerns here, but I like Seattle. They are not one of my considerations. I am going with Ravens minus 2.5 as my first overall selection here. Sometimes you don't need to get too complicated. This is the number 1 offense in the league, efficiency, according to DVOA, according to EPA per play. Their running attack is awesome, and it's against a defense that can't tackle week after week, that can't set the edge. Like Chuba Hubbard's getting to the edge. Miles Sanders is getting to the edge. You don't think Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry's going to get to the edge against this defense? And so that to me is such a mismatch. And then when I think about the other side of the ball, yes, the Bengals offense is playing well. That's the case against this. It's at home. It's a division game. There's familiarity. There was some success for the Bengals in the past in this matchup, although the Ravens did win both games last year. But then I look at the schedule that the Bengals offense has played against this year. It's the 28th easiest schedule for opposing offenses that their offense has played for opposing defenses. Panthers last week. It's been a lot of easy matchups for them. It's a big step up against the Ravens. I just think this is a wagon. I think this is one of those matchups. If it was in week 12, it would be 5 points because at that point we know the Bengals are a decent but flawed team with no defense, and we know that the Ravens are one of the best teams in the league, and that's what I believe them to be. So I think this is a good value, 2.5. Yeah. I love me some Ravens.
How far would you go with that? Because I'm with you at 2.5. Some places I've seen it's like 3 or 4.
Sure.
I hate the number 4, but whatever.
I would just go. I feel this. I feel like Lamar Jackson rushing totals. I feel it. This team, they're soft. They can't tackle. Bad defense. Their linebacker with Jermaine Pratt, it's slow. Okay, that's enough on the Ravens. That was a lot. But I just feel good. That was like my favorite, maybe my favorite one of the year so far.
I'm glad that you got that off your chest.
Yes.
Psyche feels like
the Rainmaker is out for Baltimore.
Rainmaker. I love it. Well, I told you we had the number 4. However, my next pick is a line that's at 4, which is Chicago. I think they win over Carolina by more than that at home. Chicago has a very nice home win streak going, which I don't actually care about at all in terms of predicting the game, but it is fun to tell people. I also think that, look, if you're looking at this defense, the Carolina defense, and you're thinking, where am I going to find a source of success? Every time, it's like Shaq Thompson. Oh, no, he's hurt too. Derek Brown. Like, they just keep getting so injured all along that defense that this is an opportunity for Caleb Williams to turn around some of his statistics on deep passing, downfield passing. So 10-plus air yard, 20-plus air yard. He hasn't been particularly great on those yet. Maybe this is a situation where he won't be under so much pressure that he could actually complete some of those. DJ Moore loves revenge. I don't actually know if that's true, but we're going to say it is. But, there's just a number of ways here that I think it's going to be very hard for Carolina to, to me, that just means a touchdown. It doesn't mean 4 points might as well be 5.5. You know
sure.
what I mean?
I didn't know what to think about this game, but I think you're right that this Panthers defense is going to be one of the worst in the league. When I watched that Bengals-Panthers game last week, for instance, I don't even know if the Bengals did that well in that game, but they were completing short, easy passes. Caleb Williams did that well last week. It was almost like they were starting back over with him.
He did it well. Yeah, 15 of 15 on 10-plus air yard or under 10 air yard passes. So that's pretty good. And then if you look at what Andy Dalton has always done well in his career is what? Quick passes.
Yeah.
Right? And the Bears are actually like 5th or 6th best at limiting yards from quick passes. So it just is a bad mismatch for the Panthers. And it's at Soldier Field, which I don't know. I think those Bears fans want if they could have anything to be like, make Caleb Williams good now.
Well, yeah, just be patient.
Right. No,
we're all rooting for you.
Yes.
I'm going to see the Bears in London next week. And so I want to win here, get to 3-2. Give me a little Caleb Williams pop because we know the Jags, they're not really providing the pop in that Jags-Bears matchup. So let's go Caleb Williams. I think they get a win. And I think Andy Dalton has played really well, getting rid of the ball quickly. But you're right. This is by far the toughest matchup he's had against a very good secondary. So I like that pick. No crossover here.
Okay.
I'm going Saints plus 5.5.
I like that one a lot.
Now on Game Day View, which, look, you could DVR it. You can save it. It's on Friday mornings. It's on Sunday mornings. It's all over the place. It's our show on NFL Network. I'm taking the Saints straight up. Now, do I feel incredibly confident about them winning an Arrowhead? No, I do not, although I think the money line would be fun in this one too. But for our purposes, we're picking against the spread, and I love me some 5.5 here.
Yep.
Now, I've made this mistake before, going against Patrick Mahomes in Arrowhead, but 5.5 points, it's essentially a touchdown.
Yeah.
9 out of their last 10 wins are by one score, which is, it's under 7. So 5.5, that's great. And then you look at the underlying numbers. At some point, you have to just trust who's playing better so far this year. Saints, 3rd in DVOA, Kansas City 12th. EPA per play, Kansas City right in the middle, 13th, 14th offense, defense. Saints 5th, 4th. Now, that's getting boosted by those first couple weeks.
Yeah, Carolina was a little bit of a booster. That was an ego booster. That was a slump buster, but there was no slump.
Absolutely, but last week even, they score 3 offensive touchdowns. They don't give up any. Their defense is a legit defense.
For sure.
Now, the case against it, of course, is they find stupid ways to lose. Both these teams went to Atlanta, for instance. I thought New Orleans looked much more dominant in their game. They found a way to lose. The Chiefs found a way to win. And that's where the 5.5 points come in. I really do believe the Saints are a better team. They just happen to have Patrick Mahomes not playing well and Andy Reid, and the other team has Derek Carr and Dennis Allen. I'm going to talk myself out of this before it's too long, but I really do think the Saints are a better team. They're going to get healthier, I think, on the defensive side of the ball. Hopefully Taysom Hill is back for their offense.
That's the linchpin for me for the 5.5. That's it, the Taysom Hill.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, the numbers are crazy that when he's been out there this year, but maybe he just was out there in the easier matchups. So, yeah, keep an eye on the Taysom Hill injury report stuff.
I can absolutely guarantee one thing in this game, though.
Yes.
That after the game, the coach of the team that's facing the Saints is not going to say, stats are for losers.
That's true.
All right. Did that.
Yeah, that was
you know what I like
Kelsey, right? Yeah. Did that hurt you personally?
No. That was Raheem Morris at some last week.
But
last week.
oh, that's right. Jason Kelsey repeated it
Yes.
and then went on another rant.
Which is
about
hilarious. The one thing I do really like in this game, I think it's a really low total. It's 42.5. I know both of these defenses are what's driving that, but that's still a really low number. I understand the Chiefs, they haven't been scoring a ton of points. We've seen the Saints kind of go back and forth. But I think if you look at where, like, the part of the Saints defense that has been, like, generous in terms of air yards per target, air yards per reception, that's where tight ends run. They've been generous to the tight end position. So I do think that the score could be a little bit higher than that.
So the Chiefs, this is their first game where they go into it knowing they don't have Rashee Rice, who's on IR, although his time to return is undefined right now. It might not be a season-ending injury, which is very interesting. They don't have Pacheco. This is a slow offense with Kareem Hunt and Travis Kelce out there. I like Alontae Taylor in the slot. I like all the different guys.
I like Alontae Taylor everywhere.
They're not going to get great pass rush on Mahomes, but that really hasn't been the case all year for teams playing the Chiefs, and they're still not getting it done. I think this is a secondary that can stick with these guys on longer developing plays. So I really like this one too. I like all my picks this week. I'm feeling good. If I go 1-2 this week, like I did last, like I will have a mea culpa. I will apologize. I think the rally starts now. Minimum 2-1. I'm feeling maybe a 3-0 week. All right, what's your last?
I actually think as of right now, New England is favored by 1 point in that game, but there's no Kyle Duggar. There's still there's still Tyreek Hill. There's just a lot of things, and this is a defense that Mike McDaniel is very, very familiar with, the structure of the defense, how it works, what goes on, and just rushing against it. And by the way, unfortunately for the Patriots, they lost their center too. This is also a team who's already been getting gashed in the middle of that O-line. So I just think the wrong team's favored. So I'll go ahead and take the point because I think Miami wins this game.
I took Miami in this game too. I think that's a good pick. David Andrews is a huge loss for them. Already the worst offensive line in the league. A team I think that Miami can look at and think, man, all of our problems, like we're not getting much edge rush. This is a matchup maybe where we can, but we can certainly get some push up the middle. With Calais Campbell and Zach Sealer. And I think you hit the nail on the head with the matchup that McDaniel feels comfortable with. They've almost been playing scared the last couple weeks. The Patriots might not have Jabril Peppers in this game. Christian Barmore is long gone at this point.
Matt Judon plays in
Juwan
Atlanta.
Juwan Bentley was the guy calling the signals. It has not been a good defense. And so I do think Miami looks at this matchup and thinks, man, we can actually just find a win here.
Yep.
It'll be close. They'll ugly it up, the Patriots, but I'm with you. I think the Dolphins will win. Not one of my picks, though.
Ooh, I like that we're different. We're covering the whole league.
Glad that you're not taking this one for me. I love the Bills on the road in Houston. I usually don't go for these like pick-em type games where it's two good teams, but I think the Bills are a step above. And look, I had the Bills winning the Super Bowl. I had them losing last week. I've been on the Bills.
Yeah.
This is one team I got a feel for. I think they're a top 5 or 6 team in the NFL. I don't think Houston is there yet. I like good teams coming off bad losses. I don't care about the numbers. I don't know if there's any numbers to that, but like a really good team coming off of a loss, I like them rebounding. And then what's the way to beat the Bills? I think the Ravens showed it last week. That's a bad matchup problem. To be more physical than them up front, to push them around a little bit. They're a little lighter in the pants, the Bills on defense. But they get Terrell Bernard back this week, apparently. Teron Johnson, at least they're practicing, so it looks good. The Texans can't run the ball. Like we thought the Texans were going to be able to run the ball. First week of the season, they could. Joe Mixon gets hurt. Last 3 weeks, they're right back to last year. Then I look at the other side of the ball in the trenches. Offensive line for the Bills has been awesome.
But is Deion back?
We don't know if Deion Dawkins is playing.
That's a huge deal. That left tackle is that is huge.
Absolutely huge. But you know what? Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter haven't been blowing up game plans this week. And I think you can survive without one good offensive lineman. You can help out their backup left tackle. The rest of the line is really good. So I think they're winning the games up front on both sides of the ball. I think they're winning those battles. I like the Bills a lot, -1. I think the Texans have been more rickety than their record suggests. They win these last-second games against the Colts and the Jaguars, and that's great. That's a great young win, wins for young quarterbacks, but I think the Bills are ready for this.
So to me, this game it feels foggy for a couple reasons. Number one, they lost Von Miller on defense. He's suspended. So that makes a big difference. Number two, I don't know. This injury report reads to me like, what's that game you play with your kids where like, does he wear glasses? Guess who? Like, I'm just like, I don't even know who's playing at this point. So I don't have a great feel on this one. And then further, if the Texans were to clean up their penalties, they have the most in the league. They have 40 total, 26 on offense. Yo, that's bad. If you were to clean that up just a little bit, you're putting yourself in a much better situation. So it's just hard when the problem is penalties. Like, I don't know how you fix that, but I also know that
They've been sloppy. CJ Stroud and Nico Collins have individually made up for it, but the operation's been sloppy. The run
it's
blocking.
Like, but what if you get it together this week and then maybe Terrell Bernard or whatever, they're not 100%. That's just the thing where I feel like, I'm just like, what am I looking at here? I'm very familiar with the Bills and I'm very familiar with the Texans. I'm extremely familiar with the Bills.
Okay.
It's like, who's playing safety? Like, is Taylor Rapp okay? Is he going to play? Like,
I think Taylor Rapp's probably missing this game.
Yeah.
So
there's just I just don't have a good feel. I don't feel good
I'm
either.
going on the whole operation. I'm going on Josh Allen.
I love Josh Allen.
MVP season.
Yeah.
So we're on opposite sides there, but that's not one of your three picks. We're both coming off 1 and 2 weeks. We're
we
tied
gotta figure
so far.
It out.
The man, if I am that, and the computer model, we're tied so far.
Yeah.
But we're under 500. We need to
we need to pull
rally
it together.
If you have any others that you just kind of like, you could throw them out. But yes, you mentioned the box, and so every week I have
the box.
I have the teams that didn't quite make my top picks, and for some reason my extra picks are 11 and 3. Yes, we went 1 and 2 last week, but the extra picks are 11 and 3. Only 1 and 1 last week though. I like the Vikings in London.
Yep.
The more I thought about it, like the less I've liked it. That was going to be one of my picks early in the week, and the more I thought about it, Aaron Rodgers is playing really well, but I do think a team that has protection problems, the Jets identifying the free rushers and all that against Brian Flores. And then the Jets defense hasn't played anyone. I'm not sure about this Jets defense. They've played the Titans, the Patriots, and the Broncos back to back to back. I think there could be issues there against the run. So I kind of like the Vikings. I like the Commanders.
Yeah,
like the Commanders.
I like the Commanders a lot. That was going to be one of mine. I just don't like the number 3 because then you can push and like that seems like it's crappy for our results. I also like Pittsburgh. 2.5 at home against the Cowboys, who are without
that one is to me the biggest mystery box game. I'm
Micah
afraid
Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, gone. They're already tied for allowing like the most rushing first downs in the league.
I know, but now we're favoring Justin Fields and a pretty.
I'm not favoring Justin Fields.
And I love Fields, but over Dak. To me, that's just a toss-up, and I just want to stay away from it.
No, I'm favoring Justin Fields against a very banged-up defense compared to Dak Prescott versus a really mean defense.
Okay.
That's kind of how I view it. Like, it's not...
If I had to pick one, I'd be on your side. I'd take the Steelers. But that one I just kind of want to watch and enjoy the uniform matchup and the history. And so, yeah, in the box this week, my 3 picks would be Minnesota -2.5, Washington -3.5 or 3, depending on where you look. And I actually was on the opposite side. Now that you kind of convinced me out of it, I'm crossing it out. I had Carolina written down, and you convinced me out of it. I have to admit, I'm swayed.
No, it's good. I'm sorry. If we're wrong, I'm really sorry.
No, it's okay because
the box actually makes me feel better because everything in that box feels luckier.
It has been luckier, but so I'm only going with 2 there. It's Minnesota and Washington because you made a compelling case against, and I want to root for the Bears to win this game easily.
Yeah.
And Caleb Williams.
Yeah, because then in London it'll be way more fun.
Thank you all for listening all week long on the podcast. We really appreciate you. Leave some reviews.
Yeah, we like
give
a
us some
review.
5 stars. I just love this community we're building and everyone that has been enjoying the shows. We will be back on Sunday night to recap all the games, including that London game and the Bears winning big. When the games are in London, you know football is back.
Heck yeah.
See you next time.